Welcome to the Hire Truckers Podcast, where we interview experts in driver recruiting. We provide industry insights, marketing trends, and motivation to help you level up your recruiting game. Welcome to the Hire Truckers Podcast. This is your host, Aaron Craddock. Welcome to episode 0. So first, why an episode 0 rather than starting with 1? Well, I've been blessed to be connected to some of the biggest podcasters around the country. And then have kind of followed what they've done. And a big takeaway is that listeners often, when they listen to an episode that they really resonate with, go back to episode 1. But in this case, you're going back to episode 0, and I appreciate you listening in. So this episode is going to intro me, my values, and a preview of what you can expect from this podcast. So I'm Aaron Craddock, and I have 12 years of experience in the trucking industry, specifically truck driver recruitment marketing. I'm the owner of Craddock Holdings, Trucking Clicks, and HireTruckers.com. I'm a father of 2 sons and a husband to my wife, Lauren. So my aim through your listening is to add as much value as possible. And this goes back to the book, The Go-Giver by Bob Berg and John David Mann. And through kind of the spirit of that book, like part of my journey is to add as much value as possible, just as I go throughout my days. And this is one of those ways I can do that by putting out valuable content. So every week I get to have amazing conversations with fleet executives, vendors in the truck driver recruitment space, industry experts that predict the recruitment market, et cetera. And, I've been able to have those conversations over the last decade. And now I want to bring you guys along the ride for that. Just help you learn recruiting, marketing tips, tricks, learn just about having a growth mindset in the industry, and things like that. Specifically, this podcast is geared towards recruiters, directors of recruiting, C-level executives in the transportation space, or really anyone interested in marketing and or the truck driver recruitment space in general. So you'll hear from people just across different fields of expertise, and really just anybody that demonstrates core values that I hold as super important in building a business, and in this case, building a recruiting department. So the guests we'll have on will demonstrate one of the following values. So a growth mindset, a giving spirit, and or radical honesty, which are core values across all of my companies that we focus on a daily basis with everybody on our team, all of our clients, all of our partners. And by finding out how these values have impact our guests' careers, we want to, dig in further on this and share those conversations with you. And so I anticipate this content will motivate and inspire you. And that's kind of my aim, is to just pick you up, encourage you through as you go throughout your weeks, as this can be a really challenging industry, whether you're on the marketing side or the fleet side. And we just all could use a little bit more encouragement and inspiration. Speaking of inspiration, one of the early inspirations I had to do this podcast goes back to when I was 16. I was goofing around on a dirt road and flipped my sister's car, which I don't recommend. And in that, I rode the bus for a little while. And with that, I was talking to one friend one day, and this story really communicates the value of your words. And she said, "Hey, you have a great voice for radio." And that really, stuck with me, that simple compliment. And I had never really thought about that. And so then little did I know podcasting would come around, and now I would be a podcaster and add value in that way to the market. But that goes back to almost 20 years ago. So, and then recently, another inspiration, I moved to Austin, Texas, and there's a cool story around that too. And through all that, I've been, blessed to be around just some high-level entrepreneurs, business builders, and people that inspire me to grow in my health, to grow in, business goals, to grow in really all areas. And that, that's really inspired me to push, as a lot of them run their own podcasts in different markets and industries, to doing this and putting out the conversations that I'm already having and just sharing them with you guys. And then most recently, my friend Mario Herrera, who's also in the industry, just said, Aaron, you should start a podcast specifically on truck driver recruitment. And yeah, so this is a result of that. I'm just taking action and going to add value. And that kind of brings up our schedule. So this episode will come out every couple weeks. We might eventually move to weekly, but at a minimum, every couple weeks, we'll be pushing out value to you guys and bringing you some incredible conversation and some cool people to follow in the industry. In conclusion, I want to say thank you for your time just listening to these episodes. I know your time is super valuable, and we appreciate you tuning in and listening, and hope that we're adding massive value. If we are adding massive value, I just encourage you to follow us everywhere across social media at Hire Truckers Official across all platforms. And then you can also search for me, Aaron Craddock, and follow me across all major social media platforms as well. I want to thank you for your time today and welcome you to join our community by subscribing to the Hire Truckers podcast. I hope this content here helps you level up your recruiting game. Have a great week. Thank you for joining us today. Our goal with the Hire Truckers podcast is to provide industry insights, marketing trends, and motivation to level up your recruiting game. If we added value, take a few seconds to share this with your network. Have a great week.